good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this world. My name's Ani, and today I will be discussing about music, emotion, and the reward in the brain. The article that I chose was called "The Rewarding Aspects of Music Listening Are Related to Degree of Emotional Arousal." And it's by Salampur and colleagues. And it was written in 2009. So I found it very interesting because it explores quite a lot of important questions, and it also directly relates to our 10th lesson in our music science and music and neuroscience course. So the most important questions that they asked was, number one, why does music affect us so deeply? The second question was, why can a piece of music bring us to tears, give us chills, or stay with us for a lifetime? And we've covered these questions in different forms, but throughout this course multiple times. And I don't know about you guys, but I truly enjoyed sharing some of my favorite pieces, like the Hobbit soundtrack and Hopelessly Devoted to You, and some, because I come from Armenian descent, so Armenian folk music and Russian. So thank you, Miss Rogers, for giving us an opportunity to discuss about these things and to think about it in a way I've never really thought about before, though, in a neuroscience aspect, a scientific aspect. So that was very, very good for me, and I appreciate it. Anyway, but back to the presentation. We'll do personal reflection in the end. So the study combines music, emotion, psychology, physiology, and neuroscience to help answer all of those questions. It connects us, as I said before, directly to lesson 10 from our course, emotional responses to musical sounds. So what I love about this study is that it takes something musicians often feel intuitively and investigates it scientifically. So before this course, I was aware, music had these effects, but I couldn't explain it to you in a factual or scientific way. So I definitely now can, and I feel as like a stronger person. They were very fascinating results, which I will share with you guys today. And yeah, okay, let's go on. All right, so introduction. The question, very simple. Why does music create powerful emotions? Have you ever listened to a piece of music and suddenly felt goosebumps, guys? I know I have. Maybe a singer reached an emotional climax. Maybe a movie soundtrack made you tear up, like in Braveheart. I love that movie. Maybe a melody reminded you of a memory long ago, even as a child. It just connects it right away. Kind of like when in Ratatouille, I don't know if we've seen it, but when the critic in the end, he eats the ratatouille, and he's such a tough, angry, critical guy on the outside, but once he put his mouth on that fork and he tasted it, it brought him all the way back to home, and I think he teared up in the film. I think so. So yeah, music can do the same exact thing. Most of us experience moments like these, very impactful. It's unique music because I don't think it's required for survival. I mean, yes, as we learned in the course, like in the beginning, it existed, from the beginning. I think we said that it was like a mating call or something, like in Darwinism and all those stuff, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's not food, it's not water, it's not air, like it's not an absolute essential. But people, we devote countless hours to listening to it, creating it, performing it, and sharing it with others. It's what connects us with others. And the scientists today, they've long been interested in understanding why music feels so rewarding, and that's what we're gonna that's what they discuss in the article. It explores the pleasure we experience from music. and how it's connected to the changes in our body. So in other words, when music moves us emotionally, does our body respond as well? We will see. No, the answer is yes. All right, next slide. So the research question was, the research wanted to know, are the rewarding aspects of music listening related to emotional arousal? I can put it in very simple terms. When music feels pleasurable, does the body show stronger emotional responses? As I just said. Can scientists measure those responses? Yes. Can those measurements help explain why music feels so meaningful? So I think this is a really great question because it connects, it gives explanation and it connects science to very humanistic experience. Yes, so let us continue. The methods. The methods are, the researchers recruited adult participants who reported experiencing chills while listening to music. The participants, they selected their own music, kind of like what we did this semester. And I personally think that's a smarter way to go, because I know that music is highly dependent on each person. Like what one person would find moving, it's very possible another person would not. It's not because they have no heart or soul, it's just that it doesn't speak to them, you know? Like every person has their own personal experience. So I think that it's really dependent on the person. But yes, some pieces like Schindler's List, for example, it's a very moving piece. If you don't know it, I highly recommend to look it up. Even there's a very famous video on YouTube, I'll say this very quick, and the performer herself, think clarinetist or oboist, one of those wind instruments, she's crying while performing, you know, so it can move absolutely anyone. But I brought that one up because that has a usual same effect on people. It brings people to tears. But there's always one or two who do not cry. So everyone's different. Anyway, so during the experiment, participants listened to music that they found emotionally powerful. At the same time, researchers measured, they measured several physiological responses. So the first one being, as I wrote, heart rate. The second one being breathing rate. Third is the skin conductance. I've been having trouble with that word. All right. And the last one is body temperature. So the participants also reported how pleasurable the music felt throughout the listening experience. The researchers then compared emotional ratings with physiological measurements. All right, so this next slide, originally, I did not have this stuff, but after submitting my assignment last week and Ms. Rogers commented, she was telling me, oh, you got to talk about the figures, you got to put that in the presentation, and I think you called it the good stuff. So thank you for letting me know. And now I would like to get to what Ms. Rogers calls is the good stuff. So this is actually, thank you for telling me to write about it, because my mistake, I didn't, but this is actually one of the most important findings of the study. So what we're seeing here is a comparison between different levels of pleasure reported by participants. It's kind of small. Oh, I can zoom. Ooh, yes, I can zoom. Okay. Oh, yes, there you go. So that's figure 2 from the paper. And what we're seeing, it's comparison between different levels of pleasure reported by the participants. The researchers divided this experience into categories ranging from neutral experiences to intensely pleasurable moments. So what's remarkable is that as pleasure increased, the physiological arousal also increased. So in other words, the body becomes more activated as participants experience more pleasure from the music. This was one of the first major pieces of evidence showing that musical pleasure is connected to measurable biological responses. Very quick, this also reminds me of those, I'm sure we've all seen this, one of these videos of people taking the lie detector test, how they're hooked up at all, parts of their body, and just one palpitation of the heart or something, it will tell if you're lying or not, if you're nervous or whatever. I brought that up because I want to say that science, biology, all those things, it doesn't lie, it's just factual. So I don't know how there still are flat earthers, but they exist. Anyway, but the evidence is absolutely remarkable. That's my point. This finding immediately caught my attention because it suggests that our emotional experiences with music are not just happening in our imagination. That's my point. They're happening throughout the entire body. Okay, so yes, the next slide is a continuation of, and another recommendation from Ms. Rogers again. Thank you. So this is the results of figure number 3. It didn't quite fit, but it's here, and I'll explain it to you guys. So it literally just expands on the previous findings. The researchers examined specifics against physiological measures such as the heart rate, the respiration, and the skin conductance. As participants moved from lower levels of pleasure to higher levels of pleasure, the measurements, lo and behold, also increased. So the relationship was surprisingly consistent. The more rewarding the music felt, the stronger the physiological response became. What I find particularly interesting is that these are objective measurements. The participants, they could not consciously control many of these responses. Like the example I said before, the lie detector test. They can't control as much as they may want to, right? You know, they don't want to admit maybe they cheated on their girlfriend, but they can't. The body doesn't lie. So the bodies were naturally reacting to the music in the tests. So this strengthens the argument that musical pleasure has a real biological foundation, which is awesome. And music is not simply something that we just think about, it's something that we experience on a physical level. With everything else too. All right, the next slide, it's results of figure number 4. Again, thank you for recommendation. And that's the figure. It's about chills. I'm zooming in for those who can't see that well. As a musician and as a performer, this was one of the most interesting parts for me, especially because lately I've been trying to tackle the ideas of what goes on in our crazy heads when we go on stage. You know, the minute you hit the stage and the nervousness that comes and the heart running and the legs trembling and the sweating and the craziest things can happen. But this course, along with many others I've been taking at Berklee, but this one too, it has really helped me to understand what goes on in our body and give it names, give it an explanation. Because before you're just like, oh, I'm nervous, but you have no idea why. But learning these things in the course makes it real. It gives it just helps you to actually tackle the issue on a rational level rather than freaking out about it, if you understand what I mean. So this is why I found this part one of the most exciting. We all know what chills feels like. We all know what nervousness feels like, all those things. So sometimes just a single note, if you're listening to music, for example, a harmony, a crescendo, a decrescendo, or just any beautiful phrase, it can create a physical shiver. The study found that chills were associated with the highest levels of physiological arousal. This means that moments of peak musical pleasures were also moments when the body was responding most strongly. I find that really, really incredible. The goosebumps we experience during music, it's not imaginary. And that was my point. They're measurable biological events. There you go. So the body is literally responding to the emotional power of the music. As a pianist, I found this, as I said before, awesome, especially meaningful because it validates me as a performer and things that I observe all the time. And it helps me to be a better performer. Now, what can I, like when I'm playing a certain piece on the piano, what can I do to this note or that phrase to touch that person over there? How can I do it? You know, I mean, it's not that I want to overthink when I perform, but those are very important questions to ask, you know. And you have to understand that music, it truly affects people at a deep level. So, I'm still trying to master it. I haven't mastered it completely, but when I do, maybe I'll come back and I'll let you guys know of all my findings. All right, so the next slide, it's about the results, and I will also discuss a bit. Here's a little image about the rewards in the pathway of the brain. We've discussed several times in our lessons about dopamine, the prefrontal cortex, of course. So I will discuss a bit about that right now. So the researchers concluded that musical pleasure, it's strongly related to the emotional arousal. That's it. That's the conclusion. As pleasure increased, physiological responses increased. The findings suggest that rewarding musical experiences engage systems involved in emotion and reward. I think that one reason why this matters is because it helps explain why music can feel so important in our lives. Music can create memories. It strengthens emotional experience between us. It can connect us to others, which is one of my favorites. It's used as a comforting tool during times. It helps us to grow. How many times have you seen music for babies? When the babies are born and they play classical music or Bach because they want the brain to grow at a young age. So and I think people also play music for their plants. I don't know if the plants have brains. Maybe that's a question I should ask Ms. Rogers. But I know that it has an effect on them. But that's for another presentation. Anyway, let's get back. So music can inspire us. It can connect us to other people. So this study, it provides scientific evidence for what many musicians have always believed, which is music has power. All right, so this is one of the most important parts, is the connection to our lesson, our 10th lesson, which was emotional responses to musical sound. I loved all the lessons, but this was one of my favorites because, as I said before, I've always intuitively known that there's an effect on us, but I couldn't give the scientific evidence. So thank you for all your lesson. So we've learned that throughout the entire course, we've learned that music affects much more than just our ears, actually. It influences attention, it influences memory, emotion, and even physiological processes. This study provides scientific evidence for all of those ideas. So instead of simply saying that music makes people feel something, happy, sad, or whatever, all the researchers, they demonstrated that those feelings can be measured, and it's real. And that's why I love science, because it's like, it's not an opinion, it's a fact. That's it. That connection between perception, emotion, biology is one of the major themes of music neuroscience. It definitely is. And the study helped me to see how emotional responses, they're not, as I said before, they're not separate from the body. Everything is connected to it. So it's awesome finding. Okay, my next slide is, here's a quick zoom just in case someone wants to see. It has all the things we've covered: amygdala, nucleus accumbens, substantia nigra. I can't pronounce all of these, but they're here. All right. The next slide is why this matters, and also the limitations and future questions. We'll start with limitations and future research. So like all studies, this one has limitations. The sample size was surprisingly there. It was relatively small. The participants, they selected their own music so this helped produce, as I said before, it was a smart choice. It helped to get the emotional reactions they needed. And it did give variability. So the future studies, they were able to investigate, number one, why the musicians, they were able to investigate the difference, between musicians versus non-musicians. The second thing, the different musical genres. And they can also, I think they could also do maybe cultural differences or influences, and And I think one of the most important things that future, research can definitely delve into is therapy in music. Because it's an incredible healing power, and science today is proving it. So it's not a myth. I think that this area of research will continue to grow for sure. Because the questions, they're both scientifically important and they're personally meaningful for people. So I think my next slide is about why this matters, which is bold here. Oh no, it's all on this slide. Okay, sorry. Why this matters is my next point. Sorry, and these findings have important real-world applications. So, researchers are increasingly interested in using music for therapeutic purposes, which is awesome. And music, it's found that it can help reduce stress, which is something my mother needs to reduce. It may help regulate emotions. It may support mental health treatment. I need. It may even assist with rehabilitation and recovery. It's really, really powerful. And I'm not just a performer. I also teach, and piano, and I do think about the educational implications of music. And I want to understand more how music can affect the brain and how it may help us become better, how it can help me to become a better educator and a better performer. So the more I think that we understand music's impact on people, the more effectively we can use it to enrich the world and our lives and all of those things. Okay, I think we are coming towards the end now, and it's the last slide, which is personal reflection. Yes, that's me at the symphony. I chose that picture because it looks like I have a big brain. My head looks big. No, it's just a good picture. So I would like to end with the personal reflection. So as I prepared this presentation, I found myself thinking not only as a student, because I will be 30 in November, and I am working as a classical pianist here in Florida like crazy, and I'm blessed to be able to do my work, something that I love. And I know that music, it has been one of the greatest gifts in my life. And I'm very grateful for my parents for pushing me to do it. Because when I was younger, I think we all are, why do we have to practice? Why do I have to do this? But later on, when I started to choose what I wanted to do in life, I was very grateful that my parents gave me, and I know not all kids have this, opportunities, but they gave me many options to choose from. But what was most important was that I chose to do piano because I wanted to do it. Not because I was forced to do it, because it was the right thing to do, but because I loved what I did. So this is why it's been one of the greatest gifts of my life. And as a result of that, I spent many years practicing, performing, teaching, sharing music with others. And of course, I intend to spend till I'm 100, as long as I can. And throughout those experiences, I have witnessed when I perform or even teach or anything, music's emotional power firsthand. I've even seen it with people, and I think there are viral videos online of people with dementia, and they don't remember anything. And as soon as they hear their favorite song, boom, their brain clicks, and they remember the words, or the dancer, she remembers the moves. I mean, it is powerful. It is, it's awesome. Anyway, let's continue because I think I'm over 50 minutes. So I just wanted to say that before this course and this paper, and this assignment, all these things, I purely understood music as an emotional experience. I mean, I knew that there was science, but I didn't know the actual, the words, the terminology, and the knowledge of it. So that the realization that this is also a biological experience. It grounds me. It makes me feel much stronger, because now I feel like I have ammo. Like when I talk, I have proof, you know? So that idea, you know, it's a beautiful musical moment that can change the heart rate, the breathing, one's skin conductance, and emotional arousal. It makes me appreciate music even deeper. So I'm very grateful that Miss Rogers, that you provided this course for us, because I think every musician should know the scientific backing. Humans should know scientific backing for everything, actually. The neuroscientific backing. So one of the most meaningful lessons I learned from this course is that music and neuroscience, they as much as you might think they are, they're not separate worlds. Like our neurons, it's all connected. So science, it definitely helps us understand something that I think all of us as a musician, we have understood and we have sensed for a long time, which is, number one, music changes us. Number two, it can comfort us. Number three, it can inspire us. Number four, it connects us. And sometimes, lastly, it can give us chills from just one single note. And that's extraordinary. So before I finish, I know I'm definitely over time, but you want to wrap up, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank Miss Professor Susan Rogers and for such an engaging, scientific, and warm course. And thank you for all the little advice and information you shared with us, because it's very valuable. It's definitely helped me to understand music from perspectives I've never considered. So I'm grateful for that. It deepened my appreciation for a relationship between sound, emotion, memory, learning, and the brain. I'm also grateful for all you guys, if anyone's listening, for sharing this experience together. So that's awesome. It's okay, we're virtual. We're still connected. And this course, it's definitely reminded me that music, it's not only an art form, it's a fascinating window into our human nature. So thank you all very, very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed listening to this presentation. I wish you all good health, happiness, success, everything, and of course a wonderful summer. And hopefully we can all reconnect again in the future, God willing. All right, my best wishes to you all. And I'm sorry, and of course the reference page. I will leave you with the reference page, and not to forget that music empowers us. All right, bye-bye. Happy summer.